your thoughts on today's performance?
I thought it was a terrific game. Anyone that came to watch that tonight, I'm sure they've walked away in absolute raptures. 6 goals, penalty shootout. At one point, I thought we should have been 7-5 up. It was a very, very exciting game. And from our standpoint, some guys that have not seen the field for many minutes in recent weeks played very, very well. Some excellent performances, in fact. And, of course, delighted that we've been able to, in the end, turn it our way and win a penalty shootout, because that has been a little bit of an Achilles heel in the last couple that we've had. So delighted.
We will now open the floor for questions. Please raise your hand if you have one. Great, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, you touched on it there at the end. Given where your team has been in the playoffs, and now you guys are trying to secure another playoff position going into October, how important was it, especially for the younger players, to be a part of that, to experience that? And what did you like in terms of how they behaved, how they handled that situation?
Well, it was a terrific occasion tonight, full stop. So all of the guys on the field have experienced a wonderful atmosphere, a very competitive game, extremely talented Club América team. As I've already said, it could have been 6 or 7-5, or they might have seen it slightly differently, but I thought we made some wonderful chances. For the guys that have come in, it's great experience, of course. Guys like Josh Bauer have not seen that field and has had a really good performance tonight, a really solid performance, very professional. So, his stock goes up. He's an individual that, as a rostered player, has not, at this point, been a feature of the group. So therefore, these sort of occasions are wonderful for those guys to, maybe to show what they're about. But there have been many others. Aki's coming back from an injury, incredibly bright. Brian Anunga's not seen the field for a long time, maybe in bit parts, but was terrific for 90 minutes. We know a lot more about Brian. Guys like Luke Atkinson gets on the score sheet. So it's been great for some of those squad players. And given the fact that they're, at this point in the season, we're like every other team. We've got, senior players that have been playing week in, week out, that are carrying slight problems. I just didn't want to risk. I can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do that. So it's been an ultra competitive game, and one that I'm delighted we've been able to win. And in the end, in the fashion that we did it, I think it will only give the guys an added boost if we get put in that position again.
Gary, where was get Josh Bauer on the score sheet on your lineup card, and where? How do you evaluate players in a game like this? Is it just enough to see them? Are you measuring against the competition? Are you measuring first half versus second half? How are you looking at all this?
Yeah, well, if you take someone like Josh, he's played the full 90 minutes, so of course the evaluation's a little bit easier. I said to the guys before the game, for you lads that are seeing the field for the first time in a little while, or the first time, in your career here, you're making your debut here, which Josh was. This is a fabulous opportunity. You only have an opportunity to increase your stock and your profile within the group. And if you're a regular player, then it's slightly different tonight in the fact that we're not playing for points, but it's still, very strong competition. So maybe there's a world where you can express yourself a little bit more. You can play, with less pressure, less stress. And I think the guys did that to a T. For all of the players that have done well tonight, that have not been in the group regularly, they can only improve where they sit now in the coaching staff's minds. They can only do that because the team that we've played against are of such a high level. It's very different if you're running into teams that Open Cup competition, maybe from a lower level. It's difficult to gauge them, but we're playing on a good stage in front of a terrific crowd and against a very competitive team. So they come out of it with great credit.
Mi pregunta sería, ¿qué sensación le deja que estos jóvenes que por lo regular no tienen participación demostraron que están al nivel de competir para obtener un lugar en el primer equipo? Y la segunda sería, este equipo se está caracterizando por matar a los gigantes o a los famosos grandes equipos. Le sacaron el partido a Los Ángeles, al Galaxy, le sacaron el encuentro al LAFC, aquí también, y ahorita lo acaban de hacer con el Club América. ¿Cuál es la sensación que le deja el que este equipo está demostrando que está para cosas más grandes en estos playoffs que vienen?
We are going to hear the interpretation on the song.
How do you feel about having all these young players that have played for the first time and having them perform at such a high level? And second, how do you gauge this team that has had such a good run taking on giants like LA, the Galaxy, and now this one? How do you feel about this great team?
Well, I think maybe I've touched on it, in one or two of the other questions, but I think what we've seen tonight is more depth to the group. Individuals that have not had loads of opportunity because of the challenge in front of them, but they've shown tonight against very strong opposition what they are capable of. The ongoing challenge for some of those guys, of course, is consistency. He's been able to do that on a regular basis, and of course, opportunity is going to be the key to that. But I couldn't be happier for numerous players tonight who have performed well. One or two come back from injury, i.e. Aki, who we haven't seen an awful lot of in the last couple of months. I thought it was terrific first half, as well as I've seen him play. We were absolutely delighted.
We're going to have one more question in the room
You
then.
need translation, sorry.
Oh. Etienne, would you mind interpreting, please?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing any question.
No, the response from coach.
Estoy absolutamente muy contento del equipo, de ver a estos jugadores que no han tenido gran oportunidad de jugar, que están saliendo a relucir ahora.
No, Etienne, sorry.
Y la cosa siguiente es, claro, que sigan siendo consistentes y tener la oportunidad para poder jugar en el futuro, porque se han demostrado como muy buenos jugadores. Estoy muy contento con la primera mitad del juego.
Then give us the next.
Okay. Next question.
Yeah, Gary, you've talked about Josh a good bit as one of the standouts. You mentioned Ake as well. It felt like Jacob had a really good first half going up against a guy like Miguel Ayun, who's obviously a World Cup veteran and a standout. What did you make of specifically Ake and Jacob, and how do you think a guy like Jacob can gain confidence from having such a big impact against a player like Miguel?
Yeah, look, the reason I've not mentioned one or two of the senior players or regulars is because we see them every week. I certainly am, delighted for those guys that, of course, we've not seen an awful lot of. Jacob was outstanding in the first period. I thought the fullback had major problems dealing with his pace and his movement. And in fairness, we could have been 2-0 up in 5 minutes. He absolutely tore the right back to shreds, who is, as you say, a world-class player, a top right back. And, Jacob has shown incredible quality. But in all honesty, that's only in keeping with what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 games from Jacob since he's been here. It gives us, a dimension that we were in much need of. And that balance now of a naturally left-footed player with pace is, I think, paying dividends for the group. It helps, and it stretches the game out, and it gives guys like Aki and Teal and some of the midfield players a little bit more of an opportunity to get on the ball and to try and express themselves. All in all, the balance of the group looks far better. And you're absolutely right. He was terrific. Just disappointed for Aki that his goal didn't count. I wasn't under the impression we had VAR, and then all of a sudden we did, and then we didn't again, and then suddenly we did. So maybe it was someone in the crowd said it was offside.